Go ahead. Motion to review and approve the board agenda as presented. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. No? Okay. Hey, Sarah, superintendent report? Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I have just a few updates for you, FYI, and tidbits of information for the board. So a capital project update, the mill work arrived today. There's some pictures here on the screen, so you can see that came in. That will all be being installed tomorrow. It is a little bit behind where our target date was. Our target date for movement was yesterday, but they contractually had until this coming Friday to complete the work. So our new movement date is Monday, August 30th. There has been some delays of materials due to the COVID pandemic and factories being shut down. So there will be some things that we're still waiting on as we start school, but we are going to be able to move into spaces and we'll be ready for staff and students. Anne Moreau is going to speak about the tax levy, so I'm going to have Anne do that now, and then I will pick up.
Is this on? Do I just stay here? So, as projected and expected, we have had a increase in assessed value. So, our revenue numbers. So, during budget, we projected our tax levy to be $16,878, and that's what we're projecting. During budget season, we didn't know what the assessed value would be. We had an assessed value increase. Of $269,000. So the tax rate per $1,000. Okay. So the tax rate per 1,000 is $161.68, and the rate increase is 59%, which is lower than we projected at budget season. And you can see here on the screen what the estimated increase is per 1,000. So we usually look at a home of $30,000. And so the increase is $2,865 over prior year for a total of $4,850.
Just to be clear, Anne, when we say a house that's $30,000, that's the assessed value, which is the average assessed home value for Crater Lake.
Yes.
It's not the market value of the house.
Right.
Can I just pause for 1 second? So is there a way you can share this on the actual Zoom? Because people say they can't see the screen at all. No, you're not in it, but it's still, you can't read anything. It's all blurred. you know, we dim the lighting here, it's easier to see it, but it's not, so, I'm on Zoom, and then we're seeing.
I don't know why they're sending the sound. It's making no sense to me.
Give up. It's ridiculous.
Oh, good.
It might move a little bit at time to time.
This will be online tomorrow, so I'll give you access.
Yeah, I'll just hold it for now.
Just, should we recap that last one? Or
Just talk into the microphone, that it's something new.
just to recap, on a home assessed at $30,000, estimated increase for the year is $2,885, for a total of $4,850. And then we have some tax relief in the form of STAR, senior citizens tax exemption, and veterans exemption. The school tax relief program has a basic STAR savings, which maxes out at $768, and the enhanced STAR savings for seniors, $1,758. So when we look at that home assessed at $30,000, after the reduction, the taxes due are $4,082. And then if we look at the enhanced STAR exemption, the taxes due after the reduction are $3,092. And for more information on that, you can contact the assessor's office or go online to put in an application. Additionally, we have a senior citizens tax deduction, which for seniors with an income of less than $19,500, the reduction on assessed value would be 50%. And then that's a sliding scale to a senior with an income with $26,999, but less than $27,899 would have a reduction to assessed value of 5%. And then we have the alternative veterans exemption, which exempts assessed property value of $12,400 in a sliding scale from 15% to 50%. And then the savings for the basic exemption is approximately $300. For a combat zone veteran, $500, and for a disabled veteran, $1,000. This year, we are offering, with board approval, an online payment process. So in addition to the traditional methods for paying your taxes, escrow, having your mortgage company send in your tax payments, residents sending tax check to the receiver of taxes, or individuals stopping by Warwick Town Hall, an online payment processing is being offered to the town of Warwick and Village of Greenwood Lake residents. And they can pay our taxes via an electronic check, Visa debit cards, or credit cards, including Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. There is a convenience fee associated with using these methods, and the convenience fee that's applied for the service is paid by the taxpayer to the payment processor. The fees are not included in your tax dollars and are not collected by the receiver of taxes. When you submit a payment using an e-check, there's a flat fee of $1.75. If you were to use a Visa debit card, it's $3.95. However, if you were to use one of the credit cards, it's 2.45% of your payment. I have requested that this information be reflected on the tax bill. So on your tax bill, you would see this where it identifies online payments can be made using American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and a 2.5% convenience fee would be charged. With the Visa debit card, $3.95 flat fee, and e-check $1.75 flat fee for these online payments. And the payment website is listed there, but it will also be on your check, and it's also on the tax assessor's website.
And just to confirm, if they pay taxes the way they always have, there are no fees associated. This is a convenience that we are adding if the community so chooses to use it. But if it's paid through their mortgage traditionally, or as they would traditionally pay it, there are no fees whatsoever.
Correct. This is just for an e-check or to use a debit or a charge card. And it's new this year.
The convenience fee, who charges it?
The credit card.
The credit card company, the processing card company.
And is there any other way that it could be done so that it's not costing the taxpayer another $160 to pay their taxes?
That's the credit card fee for using the credit card. It's not going to the taxpayer, and they still can pay in the traditional way without with zero fees. This is if they so choose, they want to put it on a Visa or Discover card, then their credit card would charge them a fee to do so.
We can just make that blatantly obvious.
Well, and that's why Anne requested that it actually go on the tax bill. I would like somewhere, Anne, as well, for it to very specifically say that how can they pay the bill without their fees?
Yeah.
No fee if paid through the mortgage or some other way. If my mortgage is paid off, how can I pay my tax bill and not get charged a fee? That's the question. I believe the board would like to know.
On the top of the tax bill, it says to send a check to the receiver of taxes.
So if they send a check to the receiver of taxes through the mail, like they've done in the past, there would be no fee.
Right. At the top of it, it says make checks payable to the receiver of tax and the address, or to pay in person, Warwick Town Hall.
Thank you, Anne.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you. So the tax levy will be on tonight, is on tonight's agenda, as well as the additional payment options. Just a couple of updates about the calendar. There is a calendar item on tonight's agenda. We have turned September 1st through the 4th into superintendent's conference days. Election day and March 11th are now full student days as opposed to conference days. And we have eliminated the half-day early release days for professional development that fell on October 6th and January 14th. The reason for that is we have the half-day delay every Monday for professional development with the new system. So we do not need the additional half-day releases. Just as a reminder, I covered this on the last meeting as well as in a couple of different letters that we are going to send out to community again in multiple different ways. September 8th is when choice remote distance learning instruction will begin. September 8th, in-person, first day of school for students that chose in-person instruction for students with the last names A through L. We'll have a second first day of school on September 9th for families whose last names begin with M through Z. And on September 10th, all in-person students will receive their second day of instruction. So what this is basically saying is we're doing a staggered first day of school. We're going to have 2 first days of school to be 50% of our population. I do want to update the board that the August payment, we did receive our first cut to our projected state aid. It was exactly 20%, so we got 80% of our projected state aid for our August payment. And with that, they included some different quotes that I wanted to make sure that I read aloud. We will discuss this more at the September board meeting, but I just wanted to make sure that the board was alerted to this. Those quotes are: it is not clear whether the additional 20% will be delayed or not paid at all. Additionally, it looks like any aid with a statutory due date will be paid at 80%, and anything without a statutory due date may be completely withheld. So that is concerning to us as a district. All total, it equates to about $1.7 million shortfall by the end of the year. So we would be looking to we will look to discuss ways to meet that shortfall. General update regarding reopening. I wanted to just do a quick thing about masks in the classroom and when will my child wear it in the classroom. I know there's been a lot of questions around this in the community and with parents. Once again, we have a parent choice as to whether student wears the mask all day. And students do not need to wear a mask if they are seated for instruction and 6 feet apart. But there are times when they are in the classroom that they would need to don a mask. One example of this is when the teacher is circulating and helping students, working one-on-one with them in close proximity. Another is when another person is walking through the room, whether it be an adult or a child. During a turn and talk activity, small group work, or when moving throughout the room. And lastly, if it is provided as an accommodation for a staff member that has a medical need. So just like students have medical needs, staff members do as well. And we are working with the individual staff members who have provided us with medical notes, and we are working on accommodations for them. And this is a possible accommodation for staff members that are susceptible or at higher risk. In terms of the custodial work, we discussed this at the last meeting. On tonight's agenda, there is the addition of a custodial position because we are moving the head custodian into a true oversight of the custodial, the staff, and our procedures and protocols. However, that didn't give us additional manpower. And Ms. McInerney at the last meeting kind of said to us, you know, what do you need? And we very much appreciated that thought from the board. So what we've done in the meantime is we have completed a complete run through of a section to see how it ran comparatively to a normal, typical amount of time. And the person that did that run through found they were able to get the entire job done of the cleaning and the sanitizing. But he said that new custodians may take a little bit longer, or custodians new to a section may take a little bit longer to get used to that section and the requirements for that specific section of the building. So we really kind of need students in the building to know exactly what our needs are going to be. So what I've asked for Ms. LaRoe and Mr. Porras to do is add 2 full-time subs, custodians at each building. I'm sorry, 1 at each building, 2 total subs for the first few weeks to make sure that the work gets done. I would much rather have a sub in place and not need it than not be disinfected one night and have the complete cleaning protocol done. So we will know after that trial period if what we have in place is truly enough in terms of cleaning. So thank you to Ms. McInerney for bringing that to us and recognizing that we may have an additional need. And so we will come back and we will revisit that with the board if we think additional manpower may be needed for the rest of the pandemic period. Air filtration in the new office spaces, there is an agenda item on tonight's agenda for that as well. The new office spaces are not capable, the new filter systems are not capable for MERV 13. Up until COVID, no one other than hospitals would consider really putting a MERV 13 filter in. So it was not typically used in schools. On tonight's agenda, however, because we did move MERV 13 in all of our classrooms, on tonight's agenda, we did find a cheaper version than what we discussed at the last meeting, an EL Faust 160 DT air purifier at a cost of $375 each, for a total of $4,125, and we would put one in every single one of the new office spaces, and it would actually be at a MERV 17 rating. Similar to the custodial, we are looking at bringing in substitutes for the first couple of weeks to assist with monitoring, watching the hallways, helping with bathrooms, making sure there's only one student in the bathroom at a time, supporting students, supporting staff as we identify additional needs. So similar to that, we will likely pull some substitutes in for the first couple of weeks of school to assist us to make sure all our protocols and procedures can be followed. Again, this is all new. We are making plans. We have very specific plans and ideas, but until we're actually doing it, we're still a little bit unknown. So I'm going to bring some subs in to help with that the first couple of weeks. And I just wanted to quickly review the different types of learning. We are opening on September 8th. Parents and families had a choice to opt their child into in-person instruction, or they can opt into our distance learning program, which is a synchronous learning program. If, however, that we are closed by the Department of Health or the governor, then all students would move to our e-learning program, which would be a combination of synchronous and asynchronous learning. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, sir.
I just did.
All right, we're going to move on. Thank you, Sarah, for the presentation. Moving on to 5.1, we're going to authorize the tax levy. Motion to waive the second Motion to authorize the tax levy as presented. Motion, please. Aaron, second. Motion, thanks. Any discussion on the tax levy?
No. You gotta get right up on it.
Okay, we're nice and loud now. Any discussion on the tax levy? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. 6.1, amend the student calendar 2020-2021 calendar as presented.
That's 5.2.
Oh, sorry. 5.2, a motion to approve online school tax payment process as presented. Motion?
Good motion.
Not second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Now, a motion to approve the 2020-2021 student calendar as presented. Motion? Not. Second, Barbara. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
In favor.
Okay, in favor? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to adopt policy number 3693. Can we turn the light on?
Nice this
5693. As first meeting and adoption as presented. Any discussion? All in favor? Oh wait, motion, sorry. Not motion, please. Thank you. Second. Michelle. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thanks, Mom.
Okay.
Makes a big difference. A motion to create a custodial window position as presented. Motion, please. Not. Second. Michelle? Is there any discussion on this? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to approve the contract renewal with Brighter Security Services as presented. Michelle, second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement with the Village of River Lake as presented. Motion, please. Matt, second. Michelle. Any discussion, please? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Warwick as presented. Matt, second. Aaron? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. I'd like to take a second and just again thank Ryder and our local police departments for continuing to work with us. We appreciate their services. A motion to approve the transfer and purchase the air purifiers as presented. Motion? Michelle. A second? Okay, Karen? Is there any discussion?
I have a couple of questions about this.
Barbara?
I just feel like it's just a big difference. Sorry. It's our desk. I didn't mind, it was, I needed room, you know?
I did it, it's good to be here.
Okay, so I just feel like there's a big difference in what the initial cost was versus what the cost is now. So what are the difference? Like, is it the same exact brand? Is it the same exact, what was that product versus this product?
So that product was, I'm not finding out, but this is the one anyway. That product was the one that the engineer recommended off the cuff without really doing any research. We had just found out about that relatively recently and kind of tried to bring something to you and hadn't really had a chance to shop yet. It's also a bit prettier than the ones that we are putting in. The ones that are fully functional, they will be MERV 17, but there are little black devices that are going to be in the room. The original one was a pretty white little thing that a little bit more pleasant to the eyes. Other than that, I don't think there's any. They both were going to give us the MERV 13. So there's no difference in terms of what is going to be experienced.
So quality of the product, I guess, is really my concern, you know. There's people, obviously, right, we want to make sure everybody is as safe as possible, so I just want to make sure that we're getting what we're getting what we're paying for. I don't want to be skimping just to save a couple of dollars at the benefit, or, you know, at the detriment of our people.
Yeah, these are MERV 17, and we're looking for MERV 13. So these are MERV 17 filters. And as we saw at the board meeting with some research that we had, actually had a committee member said, I found this at this price, and he, you know, Googled it and found something cheaper immediately. We weren't afforded that time prior to presenting at the last meeting. But these systems absolutely, and it's actually had a double closure system, I believe. Yes, it has a double closure system. It gives you at least part of it, but it has the price in the notes on the two different filters, the free filter and regular filter. But this is MERV 17.
So it'll filter out more.
So, right, so
It's even stronger than the MERV 13.
so it's
Bigger and better ultimately than it's going to be safer.
Yes, I will quickly look up the difference between MERV 13 and MERV 17.
I for one appreciate it. But, you know, we can't be too careful.
But it also involves the nurse's office in this.
Oh, right, of course.
So we will make sure that we're filtering out anything possible in that office. And the rest of the offices, but specifically, if we're gonna have someone sick, they're gonna be in the office. So we wanna make sure she's protected also, as are the other things coming in. Are you ready to proceed?
no, I want to hear the difference
You
over
want to
here.
see the MERV 17?
Yeah, it's something you keep coming up on really deep in the time.
I found it.
Oh,
I have it pulled up already. So MERV 13, as we stated before, does the dust, the bacteria, the viruses, etc. It is typically used for general surgery, hospital inpatient care, etc. A MERV 17 filter is for clean rooms, filled with radioactive, people that deal with radioactive materials, carcinogenics.
perfect. No one will turn green. We're good.
We are good. It will filter
Mold spores, dust, cement, dust.
microscopic allergens.
So did we know that there was, for 14, 15, 16, and 20, or just because 13 got COVID?
Catches COVID.
Gotcha. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, let's, vote, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you for your questions, Barbara.
Thank you. Sue. Sarah.
Okay, a motion motion to appoint Mark Everson as full-time custodian worker as presented. Okay. Michelle, I saw your hand first and second, Matt. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to appoint Elizabeth Payne and Warren Tui as assistants to nurses as presented. Michelle, Matt, motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to appoint Kim Campion as substitute assistant nurse as presented. Motion, Matt, second. Michelle? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to approve the leave of absence of employee number 2058 as presented. Motion, Matt, second. TJ, sure. Any discussion, guys? All in favor? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to approve a leave of absence for Jessica Donatelli as presented. Motion? Matt, second. Aaron? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to appoint Christine Cologne as leave replacement at VA Step 1 as presented. Motion? Matt, second. Michelle? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Motion to appoint Cynthia Fincroft at MA Step 1 for policy number 6221 as presented. Motion? Michelle, second. Barbara? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to appoint Kimberly Morrell as part-time lunch recess aide as presented. Motion? Matt, second. Aaron? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. A motion to appoint bus monitors Finn, McGuire, Mazzi, Piscatelli as presented. Motion, please. Matt, second. Aaron? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5 and 1 abstain. A motion to accept the recommendations for the Committee of Special Education as presented. May I have a motion? Michelle, second. Matt? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We are not entering into a second executive session. Okay. Our next scheduled board meeting is September 14th in the middle school, hopefully, at 7 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn, please? Barbara, second. Michelle. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, everybody. The presentations that were posted here tonight will be on our website tomorrow. Thank you.